Heaven's Journey to Life. The History of Superiority and Inferiority, Day 69. To read this post, it must be understood that we're walking this process and blog, Heaven's Journey to Life, multidimensionally, which means each post covers one dimension, but is interconnected into and as multi-dimensions in our process of walking the point in question of who I am and how this I created and manifested this entire physical existence. Thus, suggested to read this blog from day one, as many of the points in previous dimensions and days and posts are always brought through into the next days and dimensions and posts, as all the dimensions interconnect as the multidimensionality we've created and manifested as our separation as energy and consciousness from and of life and equality and oneness. Thus, if one is faced with this post and have not yet read this blog from day one, suggests that self first start from day one, as otherwise one will have no context of many dimensions that is walked in this post and has been dealt with in detail in previous posts. As mentioned in the previous post, we're in and from this post going into more detail regarding the evolution of ourselves as manifested singularities into and as the mind's relationship to the physical body regarding the experience of attraction, how and why we never questioned this automatic experience that suddenly and unexpectedly manifests within us without our directive principled decision, but literally, blindly, and ignorantly fell into it, and as with falling in love from attraction, where love has come to be interpreted in the conscious mind according to experience, when it is in fact within the context of the existence of the entire mind consciousness system as ourselves, the survival of and as the mind itself, and had in fact never anything to do with who we are with ourselves and each other as actual beings, but everything to do with the mind ensuring its survival and evolution as energy, all of which contributed throughout time to the consequences of the nature of relationships with ourselves, each other, and humanity as a whole. But before we can continue with this, we must be understood as the origins of the existence of and as superiority and inferiority, as the existence and manifestation of ourselves as the cause that manifested the effect of and as attraction. I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to, within and as equality and oneness, with and as energy and substance, the mind and the physical, from the beginning to now, remembered, seen, realized, and understood how, in the beginning, within and as the manifested singularities themselves, the relationships of superiority and inferiority existed within and as each other of the Adam and male and even female singularities, where the Adam and male singularities was superior, within and as their Adam and male existence of the action of friction and conflict, and inferior, within and as its Eve and female existence of having the ability to accumulate its energies constantly and consistently into and as the positive energy experience. And the Eve female singularities was superior within and as their constancy of positive energy experience accumulation and manifestation, and inferior within and as their Adam and male existence within themselves, with superiority only existing within the context of to and towards what the manifested singularities invested their awareness into and as the Adam and male singularities awareness investment manifested into and as its friction and conflict action, and the even female singularities awareness investment into and as its energy accumulation, and inferiority only existing within the context of to and towards what the manifested singularities had less awareness into and as the Adam and male singularities had less awareness and investment manifested into and as its energy accumulation, into and as the positive energy experience, and the Eve and female singularities had less awareness and investment into and as its friction and conflict action of consuming substance to transform into energy, where both manifested singularities manifested and patterned themselves in their awareness within and as their beingness and manifestations, within and as the acceptance of and as this is who I am, and the allowance of this is who I will always be. And so within this manifested decision made with the singularities themselves, this is what they became. And so, with the Adam and male and even female singularities existing within and as their acceptance and allowance in their internal beingness and manifestation relationships between their inferiorities and superiorities, each individually became the cause of the effect that manifested from within, and as this acceptance and allowance as attraction. I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand, in and as equality and oneness, with and as energy and substance, the mind and the physical from the beginning to now, how, within and as that very acceptance and allowance of who I am and will be and so have become, of and as the manifested singularities, that this moment became the infinite solidification and manifestation of ourselves as beings, in and as our relationship as energy and mind to substance and physicality, where, from within and as this moment, the more and more and more the manifested singularities remained within and as their existence, acceptance, and allowance, and thus manifestation and experience of and as energy within and throughout existence. The more and more and more this acceptance and allowance patterned, manifested into and as their beingness and manifestations, as it still exists today, within, for example, the existence of relationships and attraction, where a human being come into this physical existence within and as their inception and conception process, as the mind and the physical, and within and during their formative and development years as a child, will pattern and manifest into and as their mind and energy existence their own acceptance and allowance of who I am and will be, and so become, the design and manifestation they pattern into and as their minds, within, for example, their relationships within themselves of inferiority and superiority. And so, each human being had come to exist within this internal relationship of inferiorities and superiorities, within and as the acceptance, allowance, and manifestation of who I am and will be and so have become. In this existence of the acceptance, allowance, and manifestation of who I am and will be and so have become, existent within each human being, the cause as ourselves and our separation from and of our own superiorities and inferiorities within ourselves manifested the effect of and as attraction. Attraction that exists in all forms of relationships, whether physical, friendship, familial, etc., with the very nature of attraction, the recognition of a part and existent manifestation within and as self that one is experiencing and recognizing within and as another, where attraction can thus only exist when and as self is separated from and of one's own superiorities and inferiorities within oneself, and the superiorities and inferiorities can only exist within and as accepting and allowing self to continue existing within and as the primary relationship with and as self as the mind, within and as the living statement of and as acceptance of and as this is who I am, and the allowance of this is who I will always be. And so within this manifested decision made within ourselves, this is what we became. I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand, in and as equality and oneness, with and as energy and substance, the mind and the physical, from the beginning to now, the sound, energy, and physical symbolism and manifestation of and as the existence of and as superiority and inferiority as superiority. With S, the manifestation of sound and substance, U, reversed and manifested into and as the P, as continuation and manifestation of energy, into and as the manifested singularity being as energy and mind, with the very manifestation of P existent as the individual human standing, with the head and brain and mind as primary existence. Thus, Sup indicated the manifested in singularity in human beings' primary relationship to energy, where that primary relationship with E as energy manifests the priority as priority of and as the manifested singularity in human beings' existence. Therefore, superiority in its very origins and existence simply indicate that what of energy and the mind, from the manifested singularities to now, self had a primary relationship to and towards that self prioritized within and as the existence of who I am and will be, and so have become. As with, for example, the atom and male singularities, their primary relationship to and as energy was existent within and as the nature, within and as the action, of and as the friction and conflict, and so in and from this primary relationship manifested their very awareness and priority and importance into and as this manifested existence of and as themselves, as the action of and as friction and conflict, which manifested their who I am and will be, and so became it completely. And with the Eve and female singularities, their primary relationship to and as energy was existent within and as the accumulation and constancy of and as the positive energy experience. And so in and from this primary relationship manifested their very awareness, priority, and importance into and as this manifested existence of and as themselves as the accumulation and constancy of and as the positive energy experience, which manifested their who I am and will be, and so became it completely. Then, within the context of human beings and the mind, where whatever self within the relationship with the mind and energy have a primary relationship to, that's become a priority and importance in who self is and will be and so have become, this will manifest self's superiority. Thus, superiority is simply to and towards what of self within self has a primary relationship to and most awareness within that is existent and become part of the acceptance of who I am and allowance of who I will be that has become the definition of and as self within and as the mind. In Inferiority, with I as the primary existence of the manifested singularity as energy, and the continued relationship between energy and substance within and as the origins of the relationship between energy and substance, as energy consumes substance to transform into energy that manifests the I as the primary existence of energy itself. And F, the awareness separation within and as the manifested singularity in mind, with the first line of the F representing the manifested singularities in mind's awareness within and as its highest dimension, and the second line of the F representing the manifested singularities in mind's awareness within and as its lowest dimension. Thus, within this existence of inf is the energy's E priority, manifested within and as its dimensions of existence and awareness, only that within inferiority, there exists no primary relationship to any particular part and manifestation of and as energy itself, as it is with superiority. And thus, the difference in the existence between superiority and inferiority is simply awareness and a primary relationship forming, where one will, for example, exist within and as the context of and as inferiority within and as that of self and mind, that self had not developed a primary relationship to and towards and manifested it as parts of self's who I am and will be and have become as self-superiority. Thus, inferiority is essentially the framework of the existence of energy and the mind that consist of and exist as untapped and unused energies within and as the dimensions and manifestations of our awareness as energy in the mind, energies and manifestations of the mind that we had not yet used and utilized in forming and manifesting a primary relationship to and towards and invested in awareness into and as, and manifested into and as our superiority existence in making it part of our who I am and will be. This existence of superiority and inferiority we're walking here is not within the context of the emotional and feeling experience of superiority and inferiority, but the superiority and inferiority within and as our very existence as manifested singularities from the beginning and to now, as the mind consciousness system regarding the superiority and inferiority of what of our relationship to the mind we have used and manifested our awareness into and as, of and as the who I am and will be, and so have become our superiorities, and what of our relationship to the mind we have not used and manifested our inferiorities. As this existence in our minds of what exists as superior and inferior within ourselves is what manifests the relationship and experience of attraction to and towards other human beings, which we will walk in post to come. The emotional and feeling relationship to superiority and inferiority evolve from and of this primary existence of ourselves in our minds, in what of ourselves became superior, in what of ourselves exists as inferior, where the emotional and feeling experience of superiority and inferiority is the indication and reference the mind use of what within itself is existent within its superior awareness and manifestation, and what within itself is as the inferior had not yet been utilized to manifest into and as a superior awareness and manifestation. Thus, when, for example, one feel superior, whatever the superior experience is towards within oneself, indicate that that had become part of self's ego and existence in the mind and physical. And when one, for example, feel inferior, that inferiority will be to and towards someone and something as a mirror to and of self. That self had not yet manifested within one's mind as part of who self is and will be. That self hadn't yet completely become and lived within and as the existence of self as the mind. We'll continue more in the next post with having a look at the relationships within and between superiority and inferiority as the mind and reactions and experiences within ourselves, with some practical and tangible examples regarding how the superior and inferior existence within ourselves manifested the nature of attraction and or resistance within ourselves towards others, and so manifested the dimensions and experiences of love and hate, like and dislike, etc., and how we feel and experience ourselves to and towards others, which all originated from and of this original manifestation, acceptance and allowance of and as a superior and inferior relationship and manifestations within ourselves as the mind. I commit myself to show the origins of the existence and experience of attraction and resistance that's evolved into the vocabulary and definition of love and hate, and like and dislike, that we experience within our physical minds, which originated within and as and from the relationships within ourselves, within and between our own superiorities and inferiorities within and as our minds. That within and behind the existence and experience of love and hate, and like and dislike, is simply the dynamics of attraction and resistance, originating from within and as one's own mind in relation to the manifestation of the relationships of superiorities and inferiorities within ourselves, and thus that love and hate and like and dislike, or the difference between loving someone and liking someone, is simply the velocity and frequency vibration of the mind's attraction experience when and as the mind sees that it will benefit from a relationship with another mind and human being. And the difference between hating someone and disliking someone is simply the velocity and frequency and vibration of the mind's resistance experience when and as the mind sees that it cannot and will not benefit from a relationship with another mind and human being, and will so initiate and manifest the experience of resistance. In this, I commit myself to show how the polarities of love and hate, like and dislike, are mind-induced energetic experiences, existent within and behind them, their origins of the mind's relationship and existence within and as attraction and resistance, where our very experiences of love and hate, like and dislike, is and never has been an actual physical, practical, equal, and one decision made by self to experience, but is and always has been controlled, manipulated, and influenced by and through the mind for its own purposes and intentions of evolution and survival. And thus, within this, what each human being will face within themselves, within this existence, that the love and hate and like and dislike we've experienced within ourselves towards others is and has never been self-honest or real, because it's always been dependent on only the mind's evolution as survival. And in this, and thus, that no definition and experience of love, for example, is and has been valid, as the very origins of the existence of the words and definitions of love is and has been energy as the mind that has been utilizing the words, experiences, and so-called behavior of love as attraction to evolve itself to survive as energy and experience. I commit myself to show the reality of the existence of love as evil, as mentioned, everything's in reverse, where the reality of the existence of love as attraction, as the evil, love backwards, and evil, it in fact is physically proven within and as the manifestation of the law of attraction and the secret, where human beings will participate in the current existence and manifestation of the world system of money, hoarding money and resources to only themselves, their own survival, and evolution of material possessions and professions within this world, where for them to get, they take. And within and as how this world system of money is set up, for some to have, others will not have, where the elite and minority in this world is and has been hoarding money and resources to only themselves, taking from billions of human beings starving and struggling in poverty, famine, starvation, and war, where the law of attraction those participating in is equally as one responsible for those starving and struggling in this world system of money's relationship to this physical existence. As for them to have from others will be taken. And so it exists within the nature of love as attraction within ourselves in our mind's relationship to the physical body, where for the mind to have and get its evolution and survival in upgrading itself within and through relationships and sex, initiated within and through the experience of attraction, it takes and hoards energy and resources from and of the very physical body. And so instead of human beings, in fact, living love as equality and oneness in bringing about a solution for what's best for all in this physical existence, love in this way, in fact, being physical, practical, and real. Human beings in this world system within, for example, the law of attraction, only consider and regard their own survival and evolution with money and material possessions. As with relationship and sex, where love is simply just the survival and evolution of the mind within the interest of having and possessing the experience, instead of relationships becoming platforms and commitments where individuals really, in fact, assist and support themselves and each other to learn, grow, and expand and develop, to be and become individuals with a purpose aligned within this entire world in equality and oneness, to be able to contribute to this world and the lives of all humanity for a better and equal and one life for all.